Dios te bendiga en esta mañana. Tengo un versículo, I just have a quick verse that I want to share with you, que quiero compartir con ustedes. Mi lenguaje primeramente es inglés, pero voy a tratar de traducirlo rápido en español también. Pero en Romanos 12:12, in Romans 12:12, it says, "Rejoice in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer." Dice Romanos, gozosos en la esperanza, sufridos en la tribulación, constantes en la oración. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do it in English then. At the age of 21 years old, my mother passed away of cancer. And it was a shock for us, for our family. It was something that we did not expect or anticipate, obviously. Like my uncle pastor said, sometimes we think we're going to live forever. We think our parents are going to be alive forever. We think that nothing is going to be able to break into us because we're connected with Christ, because we're serving God, and we're on this righteous path. But unfortunately, bad things happen. In our case, my mother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and the doctor gave her 3 months to live. Subsequently, 6 months later, she passed away, which is going to be 11 years here in a couple weeks. I was thinking when my pastor asked me to say something, what that meant to me and how that affected our family. And the thing that keeps playing in my mind about the situation is that death did not break me. That is to say that there's two things that are going to happen when someone close to you dies. You're either going to persevere or you're going to break. And the situation that came to mind was a situation towards the end of my mother's life. She was so sick she couldn't stand. My mother was a very conscious person. She always had her hair done well, always had makeup. When she'd go to the house of God, she always had a dress. It was the way she was. If it was cold, she might have been wearing sweatpants, but she had a dress on top. Siempre llevaba la falda. And at the end, she was so sick, and we lived literally across the blacktop to the church. And she wanted to go to church, and we said, no, we're not going today. You're sick, you don't feel well, we're not going to go. And my mother, being the person that she was, actually went down the stairs by herself. She began to walk across the blacktop to church. She didn't have a dress on. She had sweatpants and a black leather jacket. She looked awful to us. And what I didn't get at that time or at that moment was the only thing she wanted to do was be in the house of the Lord. That almost broke me. I was trying to be strong the entire time for my family and for my brothers, trying to be there, and that really rubbed me the wrong way at the time. And I remember one of the only times that I cried in this whole process until after she had really passed away, and the day that we put her in the ground, breaking down and saying, where is the mercy and grace in this situation? Where my mom, literally sick, looking the way she did, drug herself alone because we wouldn't take her to church. And my dad sat me down and basically finally got through to me after these questions that I had, and I had been so positive through the whole situation. And it was understood by me to say that if in her last stages of time to live on this earth, her final days, weeks, whatever it was, in this case it was probably a couple weeks later she passed away, if that's the only joy she gets is being in the house of God, being in the presence of God, watching TV about God, reading the Bible, having people sing to her about God, who am I to say that our God isn't giving her grace, isn't giving her mercy? And to understand that death, her death, did not break me. It made me. It made me who I am today. Because it wasn't just through her death that I was able to see that God did have mercy on her, that God was with her from the time that she was diagnosed with cancer to the time that she passed away. It was the example that she had lived for the 52 years prior to that instance that I forgot about, I guess. I had forgot for the 21 years that we were alive, that my parents had instructed us in the way. This is how you serve God. You want your kids to serve God? Serve God with all your heart. They're going to see you serve God with all your heart. And what are they going to do? They're going to serve God too. You can't expect your kids to worship if you don't worship. You can't expect your kids to have a relationship with Jesus Christ if you don't have a real relationship with Jesus Christ. If your footsteps are not in line with the footsteps of God, and you want your kids to serve God, you're fighting a battle that you're just not going to win. Death, bad situations, bad things do not break you, because we have a God that made us in his image, in his likeness, that said, you know what, if you serve me, everything's going to be okay. Doesn't mean that everything's going to be perfect all the time. It doesn't mean that the enemy is not going to try his darndest to break you. It just means that the God that we serve is bigger than all of that. And if you're willing to put your faith and capitulate, which means rendering all, holding no reserve to the Holy Spirit, to Jesus Christ, then no matter what comes your way, what the devil meant for evil, God will make it good. God bless you.